welcome back to Denelli Chic Handmade. And today I'm going to be working on a crochet flower that you can add to any of your Addi projects, such as scarves or hats. And here's a couple of examples. Here's a hat that I knitted on the Addi, and here's the matching flower. Now this hat is reversible, and you can see the flower would match on both sides. Now the flower does have a pin on the back and a button. Here's another example of a flower that I would add to a crocheted scarf. Also has a pin on the back with a button. Here's some other samples that I've made for other scarves and hats. Now what you will need today is a crochet hook, and you can use any size. I'm using today an H, a little bar pin back, a button, a needle and a thread, pair of scissors, and I'm going to be using a pinkish Brett Michael yarn. It's kind of a number 5. It's a bulky yarn. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do a magic circle. Now what I love about magic circles is that you can easily cinch it up when you're putting your stitches. So a magic circle is you just take your yarn and you go like this, and you take your crochet hook and you put it underneath both of the loops, then you just pull up a stitch. Now initially feels a little odd when you're trying to hold all your stitches together, but you'll see how nice it looks. And this is great when you're starting a hat out or whenever you need to do something circular. So now you see I have a loop. I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to chain 1 again, and I'm going to do 12 single crochets in the middle of the circle. And a single crochet is you bring your stitch in, you pull up a loop, pull it up, and pull both through loops. And now I'm going to continue, and I'm going to make 12 single crochets. And as I'm moving along, it starts getting a little bit easier. And what I can do now with my magic circle is I can just start to pull this. And as you can see, the circle part where you're putting your stitches does get shorter or smaller. And let me see how many stitches I have. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to continue on. This is 5 single crochet, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm going to cinch. Now as you can see, I have my 12 single crochets here. I'm just going to close up my loop by just pulling this, and you can tell it's getting tighter and tighter, and just keep pulling, 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 pull, pull, pull. And you can see you don't have a hole. So if you were making a hat, a crocheted hat, and you started it off this way, it makes a nice tight hole and not a big hole as if you were doing a chain. Now I'm just going to join in this first stitch, and I'm going to pick up both stitches, and I have a join, and here is the beginning part, the center part of the flower. And again, we can just tighten this up some more, tighten, tighten. So now that we have our circle, I have a little bit of a knot here. Let me just undo this. On the next round, I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to skip this loop, and I'm going to just do a slip stitch here. Whoops. Pick this one back up. So skip this stitch, go to the next stitch, and just do a slip stitch. So you can see I have a little loop here. I'm going to chain 3, Let's skip this stitch, and I'm going to do a slip stitch in the next one. Chain 3, skip this stitch, and do a slip stitch in the next loop. Chain 3, skip this stitch, do a slip stitch in the next one. Chain 3, skip this stitch, and do a slip stitch in the next one. And then chain 3, and I'm going to slip stitch here. And when you're done, what you should end up is with 6 loops. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you can see the hole here. Sometimes we'll loosen up a bit, the hole in the center, and you can just grab the tail and you can just tighten it up. And later on when we tuck it in, it won't do that anymore. So that's your second round. On your second round, in each of the loops, we're going to do a single crochet, a half double crochet, 3 double crochets. This is 1, 2, and 3. I usually move this over a little bit. I'm going to do another half double crochet and a single crochet. And as you can see, it's making one of the petals. And we're going to repeat it for the next loop. It's a single crochet, a half double crochet, 3 double crochets. This is 1, 2, 3, a half double crochet, and a single crochet. And that's our second loop. Now again, you're going to repeat this in each of the loops, and I'll meet you when we're at the last loop. I'm now at the last loop, where I'm going to do the single crochet, the half double crochet, 3 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to do a half double crochet. And then here, instead of doing a single crochet, I'm just going to join it to the next petal here. I'm just going to put this down so you can see what it looks like. There's our part of our flower. Now, for this part, so here's my loop. I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to turn it around. I'm going to work on this side. Now, in between each of our stitches here, I'm going to put a single crochet here. So have a single crochet. Then I'm going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to single crochet in the between the next petal in this stitch right here. And what I'm doing is I'm creating loops on the back of the flower. So we'll create our second set of petals. I'm going to 1, 2, 3, 4 chains. And again, inside where the petal is, where this chain is here, I'm going to put in a single crochet. Chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, the next petal, right in the middle, pick up the stitch here and do a single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just move my yarn a little bit. In between the petal here and this stitch here, I'm going to do a single crochet. Chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, in the petal, in this little stitch right here, I'm going to do a single crochet, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we don't have any more petals. At the last part of when you do your last 4 chains, you don't have any more loops. So you're gonna put a slip stitch in between the hole here. And we'll just slip stitch here. And again, as you can tell, the center of the magic circle is loosening up again. We'll just tighten this up. And we should have 6 loops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So in the first loop, we're going to do a half double crochet, then a double crochet, then 3 trebles. This is the first treble. This is the second treble. And what it does is it makes the stitches a lot taller. This is the third treble. And then we'll do the double crochet. And then the half double crochet. And you can see that's the next part of your petal. Now in the next loop, again, a half double crochet, a double crochet, 3 trebles. This is your first treble. This is your second treble. And this is your third treble. And then a double crochet and a half double crochet. And you can see that's your second petal. Now you're just going to continue on in each of the loops, and I'll meet you when we get to the last loop. I'm on the last loop of the flower. I'm do a half double crochet, a double crochet, 3 trebles. That's your first treble, your second treble, your third treble, and then a double crochet. And I don't put the other half double crochet here just because I think it looks nicer without it. And I'm just gonna, where the beginning of the next petal is here, I'm going to just slip stitch this through. Now this is the back side of the flower. And I'm gonna cut a little bit of a lengthy piece because I want to show you what I'm gonna do with this. And I'm gonna go ahead and slip this through here, cinch it up. And I'm going to show you the other side, and look how beautiful that is. Again, our center has now loosened up a little bit. I will tighten it. And I forgot to mention earlier that we will also need a darning needle. So I'm going to thread my darning needle, tuck my yarn in all the layers here, just pull as I go. And again, this is the back side of the flower. And here we are. Just tucking in my threads. And just cut this here. Now for the longer piece, what I like to do to kind of give this a little bit more stiffness, go ahead and thread my yarn, flip this around. Now under each of these petals in here, I'm just gonna go ahead and put this and thread it through the petals here. Go all the way around. And what this does is it just gives the flower a little bit more, it doesn't make it as floppy. And I'm putting it underneath all of the little loops here of each of the petals on the back side. almost all the way around. And again, I'm just tucking in my stitch. And we have, let's see. And I just do one more, which is where I started from. Give it a little trim. And there's my flower. Now to finish it off, you find a complementary button. I'm just gonna use this button. It's really pretty, has a little bit of pink in it. Go ahead and sew this in here. And then, so since this is the front, I flip it over. I'll use my pin back and put this here and just sew it in place. I usually do a couple in each of the openings just to cinch it in good. And I've been using these flowers for several years on all of my scarves. I think it makes it a great seller. It also makes it unique. And one of the great points about it is if you make it for a scarf, you can also mention that you can undo the flower and put it on a hat, or put it on your coat just to give it a different look, or don't wear the flower at all. So you can have, make the pieces that you make have a lot of different options, with flowers, without flowers. I had someone tell me that these flowers are great for headbands. So you have a lot of options here. And that's it. Just tuck in my string here. Go ahead and cut this. And there you have it. You have a really pretty flower to add to a scarf or a hat or anything you want. And with a pin on the back, so you can pin it on. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching my crochet video on how to make a flower. I will try to come back next week with a newer video, trying to think of some neat ideas. Maybe you guys can give me some. You can add it to the comments below. Please like and subscribe my channel. I really enjoy seeing all the new subscribers. And thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it.